Hey everyone, welcome back to part 2 of my video series on developing your own film at home. If you're watching this, you're probably as excited about film development as I was when I started. This video is all about managing the chemistry in a heated water bath. This is especially important for color film, which is what I am doing. If you missed the first video, I've got a link in the description. That one covers tips for loading your film onto the Patterson reel and tank. Make sure to check it out if you are new to the process. Part 3 is coming soon, where I'll go over agitation and post-processing on the computer. So keep an eye out for that one too. To give you a little background, these tips came from my very first time developing film at home. Overall, the results were surprisingly good. That said, there was one issue I haven't entirely solved yet, which is the strong blue color cast. I was able to fix this problem in post-processing, and I'll walk through how I did that in part 3. But for now, we'll focus on everything that comes before color correction. Now, this isn't a step-by-step tutorial. There are plenty of those out there already. Instead, this video is packed with only beginner-friendly tips and tricks. I would like to provide some quick encouragement. This was my first try at developing film, and I got solid results. You don't have to be an expert to start. You just need to follow the steps and take your time. If I was able to do this, you can too. Now for this video, I developed Fuji Pro 400H 120 film using Cinestill's color development kit. I also used a Patterson tank and reel for the process. Remember, your process might vary if you're using a different film or kit, so always double check the instructions that come with your chemistry. So now, let's get started with the tips and tricks for developing film. Tip 1. Practice with water. Start by practicing the setup with water instead of the actual chemistry. This way, you can get comfortable without wasting materials if something goes wrong. Tip 2. Use distilled water for the chemistry. I used distilled water to mix my chemistry. It's not mandatory, but I prefer to avoid tap water, since mine is softened with chemicals that can vary from day to day. I don't know if this affects the results, but the distilled water helps keep each batch consistent with each other. Tip 3. Check beaker graduations. When measuring out the chemistry, make sure the graduations on the side of your beakers show the full capacity you need. My Patterson tank takes 500 ml of chemistry, but some beakers marked as 500 ml only had graduations up to 400 ml on the side, which was confusing. Check this before you buy. Tip 4. Use color-coded labels on bottles. To avoid mixing up your chemicals and cross-contaminating them, use color-coded labels. I use red for anything related to developer and blue for Bliss. You could use written labels, but color makes it easier to spot mistakes. Tip 5. Use a towel under the tub. If you're working on a cold countertop like stone or metal, place a towel under your water bath. Cold surfaces absorb heat and make it harder to keep the temperature steady. Tip 6. Start with hot tap water. The Cinestill kit calls for the chemistry to be at 102 degrees Fahrenheit. I use hot tap water in the bath to quickly bring the temperature up, rather than waiting for the circulator to heat up cold water. This saved me a lot of time, but the tap water was actually hotter, so I did have to wait for it to cool down. I forgot to mention that I use Cinestill's temperature control system circulator to maintain the temperature of the water bath. Tip 7. Prevent bottles from floating. If your chemistry bottles are plastic, they might float in the water bath. The Cinestill device has wings to hold them down, but I did use one of the chemistry bottles to hold down the Patterson tank during the agitations. Tip 8. Use a digital thermometer. Finally, I use a digital thermometer with probes to monitor the temperature. It's easier to read than a standard mercury thermometer, especially if your vision isn't great like mine. Plus, A meter with multiple probes can help avoid cross-contaminating your bottles. And that's it for today's tips on managing your chemistry in a water bath. I hope this video helps you as you start developing your own film. It's not as hard as it sounds. I got decent results on my first try, and you can too. Be sure to check out the links in the description. The first video covers tips for loading film, and part 3 will walk you through agitation and post-processing. Thanks for watching, and happy developing.